Yo, so what is good, everybody on YouTube? We are back today with a brand new video, and for today's video, we are going to be doing yet another career simulation on this channel. And of course, if you enjoy career sims, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you are new, and definitely like the video, because that's what this channel is all about: career simulations and maybe a little bit of rebuilds here and there. But for today's career resimulation, we are going to be doing the one, the only Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So we did throw him into the 2020 NBA draft class, and we're going to see actually where he ends up going and how it actually turns out for his entire career in the modern day NBA. So hopping into the NBA draft, the first pick is owned by the Detroit Pistons, and as you can see, no real surprise there, they do take Kareem, the 7'2" center out of UCLA. So in year one, let's take a quick look and see what this team that he can actually build around looks like, because you never know what happens over an offseason of 2K. So let's see what this Pistons squad is looking like in year one. So it's Kareem at an 87 overall, Derrick Rose at an 85 overall, and a slowly decreasing in overall Blake Griffin as well. Year one, you see MVP award does go to Giannis Antetokounmpo, but our guy Kareem gets Rookie of the Year. Despite adding Kareem, we still had a very rough season, definitely missing the playoffs. Kareem actually led the team in scoring with 19.7 points per game, and 12 rebounds per game to go along with that. Now up to an 89 overall. A fantastic rookie season there from Kareem, so we cannot complain. Finals in year one is Bucks versus Clippers, and Giannis and the Bucks end up taking it home. Moving into year two, let's see. Hopefully this team did get a little bit better. We should have had a pretty high draft pick because you know how bad we did last year. So Kareem is now up to a 92 overall, as you can see. We have Spencer Dinwiddie, we have Blake Griffin. Not too much of upgrades. We added Jonathan Kuminga, which is a pretty solid upgrade, as he should get pretty high in overall as the sim goes forward. MVP goes to Giannis Antetokounmpo in year two. You see Cade Cunningham getting his Rookie of the Year as well. We finish as a pretty bad seed right there. 31 wins, not what you like to see. We no longer led the team in scoring, as you can see, but Kareem did his thing. 19.3 points per game, 12.3 rebounds per game, 1.7 blocks per game. Not bad for the second-year center. But unfortunately, considering we missed playoffs, we're going to have to see how it plays out without us in it yet again. So Bucks versus the Portland Trail Blazers, and the Bucks and Giannis Antetokounmpo take it home yet again. Moving into year three here, we now have a little bit different of a squad. We added a guy like Lonzo. Some of the younger guys on the team are starting to progress, and we now have a 96 overall Kareem. So this team, honestly, is starting to get to that point where they are definitely at least a fringe playoff team, to say the least. Giannis gets MVP yet again in year three, and did we make the playoffs? We did, as the 7th seed. You love to see it. Big 7th seed. Kareem, 21.7 points per game, 13 rebounds per game, 2.1 blocks per game. So I'm feeling pretty good about this team heading into the playoffs here, and let's see how it actually all plays out come playoff time. So our first round matchup, we got the Brooklyn Nets. Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant are healthy, so not an easy matchup in the first round. As you can see, Kareem did his thing, but it was not enough to get it done. Moving into the finals here, you see it is the Pelicans with Zion versus Trae Young and the Hawks, and it does actually go to 7, with Brandon Ingram surprisingly getting finals MVP over Zion. Moving into year 4 of the sim here, you can see Kareem is obviously exploding in overall, and we added a guy like Jimmy Butler as well. So our starting lineup's actually looking very good, as we actually have Jimmy Butler as our 6th man at this point. So, should be interesting. Luka Doncic actually goes ahead and gets MVP. Kind of refreshing to not see Giannis getting it yet again. We do make playoffs yet again as the 7th seed, just like last year. Kareem, 22.4 points per game. And wow, those rebounding numbers are actually going up a lot now at a 99 overall. Kareem, that is pretty crazy. So our team's looking really good. I think we have a good shot to upset whatever team we play in the first round here, and maybe actually make a real push to maybe even the Eastern Conference Finals this year. So, first round here, we have a matchup up against the Washington Wizards. John Wall, Bradley Beal, Amani Bates, and James Washington. That's a really tough team. But as you can see, we did put up a very good fight, pushing this series to 7 against such a good team. Just unfortunately, we could not get it done. Kareem kind of had a sloppy Game 7 there. That Wizards squad did make it to the finals, and they are going to be playing the Golden State Warriors, who have a very good team as well. Golden State Warriors actually sweep them 4-2-0, and I'm assuming Steph gets himself yet another finals MVP out of it all. So, moving into year 5 of the sim here, what is our squad looking like? Hopefully we have some little upgrades, 99 overall now. Kareem, definitely doing his thing. 3-time All-Star already, and just starting to get some real good accolades. Lonzo at an 88, Jimmy at an 88, and some just solid players around. So we honestly have about 10 guys on this team that really can ball. So it's looking good for us in all honesty, considering we do have the depth. Kareem actually ends up getting Defensive Player of the Year here in year 5, which is a huge dub as well. And we move up from the 7th seed last year to the 6th seed this year, which you also love to see improvement. So 24.4 points per game, 15.5 rebounds per game, and obviously he was definitely getting it done on the defensive side of the ball as well, since he did win Defensive Player of the Year. So our first round matchup this year is against the Cleveland Cavaliers team here, and it's a good team, but we end up actually 4-0ing them, a clean sweep, 28-17 right there from Kareem, absolutely showing out, trying to get us out of that first round with ease. So I wonder who our second round matchup is going to be. Hopefully it's not too tough of a team. We're versing that Atlanta Hawks squad with Trae Young, and they definitely still have some dogs, as we actually end up losing the series 4-2, and it is what it is, because still very early into this sim, and everybody's kind of getting going. And we actually lost the team that ended up winning the finals, as Trae Young gets finals MVP right there, so it makes this thing kind of hurt a little bit less. As you can see here in year 6, Cade Cunningham ends up winning regular season MVP with the OKC Thunder. Bol actually getting 6th man, and our guy Kareem gets Defensive Player of the Year as well. And there we go, some big improvement. We are now the number 2 seed Pistons. You love to see it. 24.7 points per game, 15.5 rebounds per game yet again, and 2.0 blocks per game for Kareem. Definitely getting it done for the squad in the regular season. Our first round matchup, we got Kyrie Irving, RJ Barrett, and Jarrett Allen. So we did lose this Nets team before when they had KD, but this time we destroyed them 4-1. Great games right there from Kareem and Jonathan Kuminga. Second round, we have a Washington Wizards matchup, and let's see how this one turns out. I think we should take it from them. As you can see, we end up actually sweeping them 4-0, moving into the Eastern Conference Finals here up against Trae Young and the Hawks, who eliminated us last year and went on to win the championship. And unfortunately, yet again, they do kind of have our card. So we did make it to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in this sim, but Trae Young did diminish our hopes, making us get dropped off 4-1. Finals here, you got Hawks versus the Golden State Warriors. Yet again, Steph and Clay still hanging around. This should be an interesting series, going shooter for shooter on both teams. And apparently at this point in his career, Trae is a better one than Steph, winning the series 4-1, moving into year 7 of the sim. Our team honestly looking pretty similar to what it's looked like the last couple years, and I'm not upset about that because I think that we were a contender last year to even have won the championship, in all honesty. So Kareem, Defensive Player of the Year yet again, as we finish the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. You'd love to see that upgrowth. Another fantastic season here from Kareem. Not much more I can ask for from him. You see what the rotations are looking like, a very, very solid team. You know that when you have Jimmy Butler as about your 7th or 8th man off the bench. First round here, Detroit Pistons up against the Philadelphia 76ers. They still have a lot of their young core, but we do bounce them in 5-4-1. Kareem 31 and 13 in that game, moving us on to the second round up against the New York Knicks, who never stood a chance, getting dropped off 4-1. Big game there from Kareem as well, 34 and 21. Eastern Conference Finals, we find ourselves here yet again, this time up against the Boston Celtics, and unfortunately it is the same outcome as last year. You don't love to see it. We get dropped off 4-1. Boston Celtics versus the Utah Jazz here in the championship game. And it's actually a pretty good series going to Game 7. And Bol actually ends up getting Finals MVP. That would be a great success story for a guy that was a second-round pick. Moving on to Year 8 here. In Year 8, our team, yet again, looking pretty similar. Not too many big changes are happening. For the rotations, you can see it's pretty similar. So let's hop into it. Ja Morant ends up getting regular season MVP here with the Memphis Grizzlies. 31.9 points per game and 13.2 assists per game. And yet again, our guy Kareem gets Defensive Player of the Year. We finish as the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference, which is very good. And we did actually end up acquiring Jalen Green and D'Angelo Russell, which is kind of interesting. I kind of want to take a look at the transaction report and see how that actually went down. So the Jalen Green, we traded Spencer Dinwiddie and Shamir Pons and a first-round pick. And it looks like we just signed D'Angelo Russell, so that is interesting. First-round matchup here up against Kobe White and the Chicago Bulls. And we absolutely blow them out of the water in the first round. They did not stand a chance, taking a 4-0 L. Second round here, we yet again find ourselves in a matchup with the Bucks, and this time we end up actually sweeping them 4-0. Moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals here up against the Brooklyn Nets, and I think that's an easy clap. We beat them in 5, 4-1, finally making it to the finals here in, I believe, Year 8. And let's see how it plays out. We're up against a pretty good Jazz team here, as you can see. Brandon Clark, Chet, and Donovan Mitchell. So hopefully we can take it, but it should be a hard-fought series to say the very least, as it is 3-2, and unfortunately we get bounced in 6, with Dennis Schroeder actually winning Finals MVP. That's an interesting guy to win a Finals MVP, I'm not going to lie. Moving into Year 9, at least we have seen enough success, knowing that we are possibly a championship caliber team, making it to the finals last year and putting up a pretty good fight. Cade Cunningham in Year 9 gets regular season MVP with the OKC Thunder, dropping 32.1 points per game and 11.2 assists per game. And yet again, Kareem is DPOY. We finished as the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference this year. 3 guys over that 20 point per game mark, which you love to see. Kareem still at a 99, doing his thing. 31 years old, 23.4 points per game, 14.5 rebounds per game, and just about 2 blocks per game. Definitely getting it done. Of course, Jalen Green being an absolute huge help to have on this squad with Kareem. First round matchup here up against the Hawks. We end up beating them 4-0. Trae Young, getting up there in age, could just not get it done. Huge game there from Kareem, though, 20 and 22. That's pretty crazy. Second round here up against the Boston Celtics. Yet again, another pretty easy dub, as we actually beat them in 5, 4-1. Eastern Conference Finals. We meet again against Imani Bates and the Washington Wizards, but this time we come out on top, beating them 4-2. Huge game there. Moving on to the test of it all, a championship game up against Zion Williamson and the New Orleans Pelicans. We're up 3-1 in the series, so of course we're going to hop into Simcast and see how it plays out. And as you can see, we have a 12-point lead here, 119-107, with only about 30 seconds remaining. So, as you can see, we have secured ourselves the dub, and we are going to be the first time NBA champions for Kareem. And let's see if Kareem actually ends up getting Finals MVP here, or if it's actually Jalen Green. And as you can see, everybody is super hyped, getting their first NBA championship. You see Kareem holding the trophy real high right there in the center, and then him popping some champagne with Zoe himself. So let's see the box score from that game. Kareem putting up 28 points and 19 rebounds, and he does end up solidifying himself as the finals MVP as we move into year 10 of this sim, and we're finally starting to get everything in motion. Everything is going crazy, so hopefully we can go back to back and get ourselves yet another NBA championship here in year 10. As you can see, yet again another defensive player of the year there for Kareem, and we finished the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference with 58 wins on the season. And this year, Kareem's actually not the highest scorer on the team, as Jalen Green actually did slightly beat him overall in points per game. So this year we have a first round matchup up against the Nets, and I honestly think that this should be a pretty easy dub. And I spoke too soon, as they took it to 7 with us and actually upset us as the number 1 seed. So I guess coming off that championship, we just did not play to our competition and just kind of let them roll us. Big tough. Moving on to year 11 here, you see the squad is pretty similar. Still have Zoe, still have Kuminga, still have Killian Hayes, we still have Jalen Green. So let's see what happens. Cade Cunningham gets himself a regular season MVP here with the OKC Thunder, 34.6 points per game. And of course, yet again, Kareem getting himself another defensive player of the year. We finished as the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, 22.2 points per game and 14.8 rebounds per game on the season for Kareem. Definitely very solid. First round matchup up against the Celtics this time, and let me not jinx us considering what happened last year. Thankfully, this time we do end up winning in 6, 4-2. Kareem, of course, absolutely dominating his competition. Second round matchup here up against the Bucks with Giannis. They take it to 7 with us, but Jalen Green did not let us go down that easy, dropping over 50 points in that game 7. Moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals here up against Tyler Herro, Mikal Bridges, and Bam Adebayo in the Heat. We end up dropping them all 4-2, sending us to the NBA Championship up against a very strong Thunder team with Cade Cunningham and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. As you can see, we are down 3-2, and of course we're going to hop into Simcast and see how this one plays out, if we can successfully push this to 7 and keep our hopes alive. And as you can see, we have a huge game there, and here we go, hopping into the Game 7 in Simcast. You can see we are up 125-95, so a 30-point flood here on this team. A very good team and a very hard-fought series, but it is definitely in the bag at this point, because there's no way that you could ever come back from something like this. Letting the clock run out, our Pistons are now a 2-time NBA champion. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, a 2-time NBA champion. And I'm kind of interested to see if him or Jalen Green will actually end up getting this Finals MVP award, considering they both have been balling out like crazy. Looking at the box score from that game, you can take a look and see kind of how everyone played. You see Shai dropped 34, and our leading scorer was actually Jonathan Kuminga, and who ends up getting this Finals MVP award is kind of what I'm interested in at the moment. So let's see who it was. Jalen Johnson? Jalen Johnson. Okay. Year 12 we move into. Honestly, that was a big surprise to me. We're moving into year 12 here, 2031. Let's see what the squad's looking like. Hopefully we have a very good team, and maybe we could get ourselves a 3rd NBA championship. You see what the team's looking like. Cade Cunningham getting yet another regular season MVP right there. And how did we finish? Number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. Absolutely popping off with only 16 losses. You love to see it. 21.9 points per game and 12.7 rebounds per game. But wow, Jalen Green definitely doing his thing. You can't knock that. 28.9 points per game on the season for him. We got a first round matchup here up against the Bucks yet again. Cole Anthony and Giannis are still hanging around. Jalen Johnson has actually joined them as well. First round we get an easy dub over them. Giannis tried to do his thing, but as he is aging, he can't do as much as he once could and can't just absolutely carry. Jalen Green snapped, helping us win that game. Second round up against Ben Simmons and the Philadelphia 76ers. And I think we should be able to take this one, as actually we cooked them there. 148 to only 97. That's some crazy defense. Moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals here, up against the Atlanta Hawks and Trae Young. And yet again, an absolute flood, winning 4-1. Great game, putting us back in the back with the opportunity to go back-to-back in the NBA Finals. We go up 3-1, and let's see how it plays out. Of course, we're going to let Simcast show us. And it's a very back-and-forth game, as you can see early on, and the Portland Trailblazers take a huge lead there, getting themselves a game, making it a 3-2 series, hopping into Game 6 here. Hopefully, we can just knock them out here and not get forced to a Game 7, but unfortunately, it's not looking that way as we lose by 8. Going into Game 7 to see if we are the real deal and can go back-to-back, let's hop into Simcast. We're up 131 to 119, just letting that ball dribble to take our dubski to go back-to-back in the NBA Finals here and get Kareem yet another championship under his belt. Big number 3. Let's see if him or Jalen Green gets the NBA MVP Finals award this year. Looking at the box score from this game, let's see how it actually played out. So 30 right there for Kuminga, 25 from Jalen Green. Honestly, kind of a rough game there for Kareem. Jalen Green gets Finals MVP for our Pistons squad, moving us into the big year 13. So in year 13, it is 2032, and Kareem is no longer the highest overall on the team, now down to a 98 overall. Jalen Green at a 99 overall. A 10-time All-Star as well for Kareem. Lonzo doing his thing, of course, as well. Cade Cunningham here, MVP yet again with the Thunder. And we finish as the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference, behind only the Washington Wizards with Amani Bates. Kareem's definitely starting to slow down a little bit points per game-wise. 20.9 points per game, 14.5 rebounds per game. First round matchup, we got the New York Knicks with Anthony Edwards. And whenever a squad is Anthony Edwards, you can't count them out. As you can see, we get upset by them there. You don't love to see it at all. And that Knicks team that upset us actually goes on to make a run for the finals here up against Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies. So I'm kind of interested to see how this one plays out. Will the underdog story play out here for the Knicks, or will the Grizzlies crush their dreams? Let's see how it plays out here. So, Anthony Edwards ends up overcoming it all with the underdog story here, winning Finals MVP, beating the Grizzlies 4-2 in the Finals. Moving into year 14 here, Kareem taking yet another step down, now at a 96 overall. Under 20 point per game mark, so definitely slowing down a bit. But we still have a very solid team around him that can really help him prosper even in his later years here. So we have Pistons up against the Bulls here in the first round, and we actually end up beating them pretty easily 4-1. Jalen Green dropping 49 points, keeping us alive there. Moving into the second round up against the Toronto Raptors. They have Big O at center, and we end up taking them as well pretty easily, 4-2. Eastern Conference Finals here. This is a good test of how good we still are, up against Amani Bates and the Washington Wizards, and Jalen Green doing his thing, dropping 49, getting us out of that Game 7 alive. Moving us to the finals here, up against Cade Cunningham and the Thunder. This is definitely a very tough team, so I'm not really sure how it's going to play out. We find ourselves up 3-2, and not letting it go to Game 7. We are up 133 to 118 with our guy going to the line. 15 seconds left in the fourth quarter, so we have secured yet another NBA championship for Kareem, making it big number 4 with the Detroit Pistons here. Definitely what you love to see. Interested to see who gets Finals MVP this year, now that it's probably not Kareem in these later years here, as he's been slowing down quite a bit. I'm assuming it's Jalen Green. It is Jalen Green getting yet another Finals MVP. Moving us into year 15 here of the sim. Kareem now at a 91 overall. About 2 years left on the contract, and I would assume after those 2 years, he might just chalk it up and retire now to 91 overall. James Wiseman gets regular season MVP here with the Washington Wizards. We finished the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference, so not too shabby whatsoever. Kareem, 17.2 points per game, and still getting some decent rebounding numbers at 10.4 rebounds per game. And of course, he's always a very good defensive player as well. First round, we have a matchup up against the Knicks that did upset us in years previous, and you don't love to see that. But we actually end up beating them 4-2, which is great. Moving on to the second round up against the Toronto Raptors. They never stood a chance. We beat them 4-0. And we're moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals yet again. And will we get Kareem his 5th ring of this sim? The world may never know. Moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals here up against Amani Bates and James Washington. And it was a hard-fought series yet again, but this time the Wizards did, in fact, come out on top. They're going to be the ones up against this Thunder team this time, so let's see how it plays out. I'd rather the Wizards win since they beat us, and they end up beating them in 5, 4-1. Amani Bates getting a Finals MVP there. So Jalen Green, 99 overall. Of course, Kareem just heading down in overall. Simulating Mo Shaw gets MVP with the Thunder. First round matchup here up against the Chicago Bulls. And it goes to Game 7, and we actually do win. So we're going to be moving on to the second round in the year 2038. Big game there from Jalen Green, dropping 50, man. This dude is carrying us in the later years of this sim. I'm not going to lie, as Kareem only put up 14 and 5 in 30 minutes in that game. Not the greatest. Second round matchup here up against that really good Wizards squad. And it will be a tough one for us to win as we end up losing 4-1. Wizards yet again in the finals here up against the Portland Trailblazers. And let's see how this one plays out. The Wizards are up 3-1 and end up actually knocking them out in 5, 4-1, winning 4 straight. 2036 here, as you can see, Hall of Fame inductees, our guy Kareem right there beside Karl Anthony Towns, Brandon Ingram, and Jason Tatum. Cutting his career maybe a little bit short, but it was probably time. Looking at the jersey retirements, the Pistons did retire Kareem's number, and we're at that point in this that every time we just kind of look through and see where he finished all time amongst different stats, and I'll show them on the screen. You can kind of look. If you made it this far throughout the video, as always, comment GOAT, G-O-A-T, in all capitals down below, so I know you are a true Bean Squad supporter and can show you that love that I love to show all of y'all. Also, if you are here, let me know who you guys want me to do next, whether that's a rebuild, a rebuilding challenge, a career sim of a current player, a prospect, or a re-sim. Of course, I'm always down for any cool ideas that you guys have. I really appreciate all of you that watched all the way through this video. It helps me out a ton. I hope you all have a fantastic day. Stay safe. Peace. Bean is out.